Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from MouseSteps.com.
And today is a special edition of MouseSteps Weekly.
We put Martin to
Put
work.
Martin Smith to work.
And we're sponsored by Theme Park Connection in Winter Garden, Florida.
And also Maple Leaf Tickets, our official ticket agency. So, we have our special guest here, Martin Smith.
Hello.
From Manchester, England.
Hello again, everybody.
We put him to work.
And we're putting him to work. Now, Martin does these great videos of all his adventures.
Look how nice.
And he went to Disneyland Paris this past summer for their big 20th anniversary.
Yeah, and the highlight of the anniversary is this show that's shown every night, believe it or not, at 11 p.m. in the summer when the park closes. So the show runs for another half hour, 11:30 the show runs to.
Oh, you
I
almost
nearly said
half
11.
Half 11.
The show-
We've learned that these last few weeks. Half 11.
Yeah, quite
half 11.
Frequently this summer in Paris, you still be in the Magic Kingdom at midnight. Every night it was the most amazing feeling to be there regularly, not extra hours.
No, I have never been to Disneyland Paris, but I understand that's a rarity. That's not a norm to be at the park at that late
during
time.
the 10th it was not like
in
that
the
at
summer
all.
it would normally be open until 10 o'clock. This summer, every night it was open till 11 to accommodate dreams.
And look at
Dreams
how
open
beautiful
at 11.
this looks. It looks very crowded also.
It was very crowded. We got lucky on the first night. We actually got front row on the rope to watch the show.
Didn't you say you were on the ground or something?
Yeah, we were sat on the ground, right, literally at the front row with the rope above our heads watching the show. We shot it from a bunch of different angles. This is the start of the show. If you can imagine a fireworks show that incorporates wishes, reflections of Earth, phantasmic, world of colour, in plot, in presentation, there's lasers, there's fireworks, there's mist screens, projection screens, searchlights, flamethrowers, you name it, they've thrown it into this production. The production,
it looks
it's such
amazing.
a great big American production. Normally Paris's firework displays aren't too good.
Right,
They're regular shows. This one is designed by Steve Davidson from Wishes fame, and it shows because it's an American show in Paris, and it runs every night this year. After this year, I dare say that it's going to be running for quite a while because they spent a lot of money on infrastructure. So you can see here, this is the start of the show where the lights have gone out. There's projections on the castle, very similar to Magic Memories and You.
And the sparkly things, that's actual firework.
There's fireworks, there's lasers all mixed into one. Here you can see a great effect. The second star to the right appears at the top of the castle with lasers actually coming out of the star.
Great job.
The star's bigger than the turret, so the star comes out of the turret and expands. So it's actually wider than the castle.
And this is Denise and my first time really watching this show.
I haven't actually watched it.
So I'm already very impressed by what I'm seeing here.
The music as well is really nice here. It's a rendition of Second Star to the Right.
And we're going to have a link in the show notes today
to Martin's
video, so you can go and actually hear the real soundtrack and go ahead and watch it and check it out.
Great, see what you think of this show, because we found it was fantastic. It's not a full-on fireworks show. Don't expect fireworks every second, because it's not. It's a multimedia show, if you like. It's
like illumination.
And there are sort of
like Reflections of Earth, has got fireworks as part of the show. Here you can see some of the projections again. You can see some of the Phantasmic style mist screens.
Yeah, I was just going to say it.
And these screens pop up in front of the castle in the hub. They come out the castle moat.
Oh, amazing.
Along with fountains as well in the style of World of Colour. The whole moat along the front of the castle is like World of Colour. So there's a mist screen projection.
Wow.
Now again, from somebody who's never been to Disneyland Paris, what would the castle, could you tell me how big the castle is compared to the Florida castle?
Smaller than Florida, bigger than California.
It's about in the middle between
It's kind of in between. Of course, it's got a dragon in the basement. It's also got a hillside built onto one side of it, which makes the castle look taller than it actually is, because you've got a green hillside on one side with trees that get smaller further up the hillside due to forced perspective. And also, this castle, although it doesn't have a restaurant inside it, you can actually go inside into the upper level on the interior balcony and walk around, following the story of Sleeping Beauty.
So it's almost like a mini attraction?
Yeah, it is. And you can also step onto the rear balcony outside. You can walk around looking down onto Fantasyland. Here the show's just starting, and basically the show's plot is Peter Pan's shadow escapes and starts to create mayhem and chaos. As you can see here, Peter Pan's trying to catch it, bring it back. He's got caught it, and he lets go, and suddenly the shadow hits the second star.
Oh, that's great.
And all the magic spills out.
Oh,
and
look at
that's
that.
where things are going to now start to go wrong, because all the magic's spilling out the star.
Well, you can't have magic spilling out now, can you?
And
Oh,
that's
World
the
of
first
Colour,
time
look
you
at
see the
that.
fountains, yeah, and along with a mixture of lasers as well and projections. It's just it's hard
Great
to
job
describe
getting
the
all
show.
these different vantage points.
Thank you,
here.
thank you. We shot it.
Excellent.
We've got, I think, shot it over 4 nights, so
Wow.
we've got a wider type and both sides covered. Because there's projections everywhere as well, as you can see, they cover up the breezeway in the castle with the screen, so they use the whole facade of the castle as a projection service.
It's amazing to me because I was there for the 10th, and the 10th only lasted really one day, and then
Yeah.
they extended it to a week. And we were lucky to have any fireworks at all, because that wasn't the norm that they would have fireworks, and it was nothing like this. It was just a little fireworks
Indeed,
show.
in Paris, normally the fireworks shows
Look at
are
that.
July,
Wow.
August, and the first week of September, and also at Christmas and New Year. This one is, like I said, is running every night.
Was this the big thing for the 20th?
Yeah.
There was no. Is this the only thing?
It was advertised as the 20th celebration. You have this show. You have a new 3 p.m. parade, which is actually at 7 o'clock.
Well, this bubble thing kind of reminds me of the Fantasmic
A
thing.
lot of these graphics are based on Fantasmic, like that. There you go.
Yeah,
There's
oh yeah,
Jiminy
absolutely.
bubble popping, yeah, from Fantasmic. You also may see some footage you might recognise from World of Colour,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and a lot of footage as well is drawn especially for this show.
Just
It's
amazing.
got lasers on the hillside as well.
You know, like Illuminations Reflections of Earth has been my favorite nighttime show, probably of all time, but I'm imagining this would probably
This
be
show
up
is
there too.
this show is stunning. It really is stunning. They also installed a new sound system in the hub, so the hub now is full of stereo speakers and new subwoofers in the flower beds. So the sound is amazingly loud and amazingly clear when you're watching the show.
And I have a feeling this is one of those shows where you just have to see it in
Yeah.
person. I mean, nothing can
No.
probably do it justice.
No, not at all. I mean, even me, if you like, who's seen a lot of these nighttime shows. I mean, I don't go quite back as far as you do, but I grew up with Laserphonic Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
And one of the original versions of Fantasy in the Sky back in the 80s in the Magic Kingdom in Orlando. And to see this show, it's kind of like I was on the front row the first night I saw it in person, and there was one moment, I don't remember which it was near the finale. As you'll see, the finale is something special, but I actually had a jaw-dropping moment. I just stood there and froze, and I went, oh my, wow. And for me
There's
to be
Remy.
wowed by something like this,
Yeah,
instead of just
that's-
grinning, normally I'll grin to myself if it's good, but I actually I took my eye away from the viewfinder and I just went,
You just
oh,
kind of
wow.
lost yourself
Yeah.
in it.
It's absolutely stunning, and it's also designed to give an ending. You think it's finished, and then you get the grand finale. And the storyline is quite good here. I should point out the storyline here. Peter Pan is basically going through different elements of different movies, and chasing his shadow throughout. So you either get Pan or his shadow, like here. We're now in Aladdin with Genie sequence, which is very similar to Fantasmic in Tokyo, as you'll see.
Wow.
But we go through elements of movies, then we go to the villains section, of course, where
Look at that.
things go wrong,
That's-
evil takes over, and then good triumphs in the end. They put the magic back in the star saves the day, everyone's happy, and we have a big grand finale in typical Disney style. But to get there, we go through this fantastic mix of so many different effects that all play into one show. I mean,
Oh, wow.
to list everything: fireworks, lasers, front video projection, high def projection, mist screens, fountains, flamethrowers, searchlights, smoke, mist effects in the moat, because also they've got like a fog effect in the moat, so the moat fills with fog. If you're lucky enough to be near the front of the show, the actual whole moat in front of the castle becomes fog bound.
I would have to say, just looking at your video, it's probably the most ambitious show I've ever seen any Disney park do. I've not been to the overseas parks.
It's certainly ambitious. Technically, I'd probably stay still that Reflections of Earth is the most ambitious technically that they've ever done, purely because they've got to set it up every day and remove it. But this show, to install the infrastructure into an existing park and existing buildings without it showing in the daytime, fantastic. The only things you can see in the daytime, there's a new control booth built in the hub, which is a wonderfully styled Victorian single-story house with windows you can't see through, and at night time the windows open up and inside is all the control panels for the show.
Now these projections, is it similar to the Magic Memories?
Very similar. Magic Memories and You, if you like, was the prototype version.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Paris and used a very similar system but improved it for Paris. They're now currently retooling the Magic Memories and New hardware here in Orlando. As you know, the new show opens next month. I believe it's next month.
So the new
November.
Christmas show should be like this then?
The new nightly show in Orlando will look very similar in projected effects to this. They're moving the projectors in Orlando further back down the rooftops, so you can't see them from the hub. Because as you know, when they were originally there, you could see the projectors on the rooftops. I believe they're also giving the projectors in Orlando enclosures, like in Paris. In Paris, the projectors are fully sealed in a climate-controlled room, which has got a window on the front with actually a windshield wiper on the front of it. I believe that's what's now going into Orlando as well.
I love that they're using Notre Dame. I mean,
Yes.
It's right down the road. I don't want to say right down the road, but it's right down the metro.
Yeah.
You know, a half hour or so away, and here you have it on the castle.
It's a nice nod to France and Paris. They tend to do it quite a lot in their shows. They will not try and pretend that they're not in France anymore.
Stained glass effect, it seems.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, look. The castle transforms into Notre Dame, then the castle transforms to stained glass windows, and here we have bell ringers in midair.
Oh, wow.
With all the fireworks in sync to the music. And you have depth as well because you have the mist screens in front of the castle. You have projections on the mist screens and you have projections on the castle at the same time, so you kind of get the world of colour effect where you have a rear projection and a front projection that you can see through the front projection to the back at the same time. This is one of my favourite sections. Mary Poppins, Step in Time. The visuals and the fountains. And by the way, you do get wet if you're in the first 4, 5, 6 rows at the front. You will get sprayed depending on which way the wind's
Like at the
blowing.
World of Color.
Yeah. As you'll see here, how high these fountains can go. The fountains can go higher than the castle.
Wow, look at that. Now, they must have to close this off in advance. You know, there's certainly people can't go through the castle.
People can't go through the castle. Fantasyland, I believe, is mostly closed off in preparation
For good, so they probably close it a little early.
They close it a little early, mainly not just Fallout, but because in Paris the fireworks shows are all launched off the Fantasyland building rooftops. There's no pyro launch from beyond the berm, unless it's a special event like New Year's Eve. So all the pyrotechnics here you see are launched from inside the park, so safety is a big concern. They cordon off a lot of Fantasyland, and also the area in front of the castle immediately between the drawbridge and the hub roadway is roped off. And that's where we're standing now. Actually,
loving this rain effect, this water effect.
The water effect, the flowing water looks fantastic like that. But as you just saw then as well, there's laser raindrops projected onto the castle, which also get caught in the foreground mist from the fountains. So you actually get laser raindrops in midair above the hub.
Wow.
Incredible.
This has been out like 6 months now. I mean, we haven't really looked at it probably because we're hoping to go this coming year, so you don't want to.
Well, that's why I didn't want you to see it. When I wanted us to sit down, see it for the first time with Martin, somebody who's obviously seen it many times and can really give us a good overview.
It is. It's a stunning show.
I love all the different characters. That
also
they're using.
Unusual characters.
Right, characters you don't
for
always
example,
see.
There's no Lion King. There's no Toy Story. Wow, hang on, this is a current brand new Disney show. The only Toy Story characters you'll see in the finale, they use a series of clips from World of Colour. From the World of Colour finale, in fact, that they use here as well, and you'll see them. Apart from that, I mean, Jungle Book, the fact that someone's opened a new show with an element of Jungle Book, it's like, wow. Great decision, bold decision, in fact, that they've gone with something a bit
older. I mean,
a bit older, maybe a bit more dangerous, because not all the kids will know this film. And it's nice that they've actually had the guts to go back through the back catalogue and pull out the old classics.
Absolutely,
as well as
I agree.
the new films. It's not a Pixar show, it's a Disney show.
There is, as you said, a little bit of Pixar at the end, but not running through it otherwise.
Not running through it at all. I mean, we were surprised by some of the choices that they've made. I know when the show was in design, there was a Lion King section proposed. That never made it to the final cut. We go here from the Jungle Book to Tangled. This part of the show is perhaps a little bit too weak. It doesn't seem to have the pace of the rest of the show. The visuals are fantastic, the effects are great, but if there was a part of the show maybe that could go, I would say this
This
part
could
of
be
the
a
show
tightening.
could be
It
cut, yeah.
does remind me of the Magic Memories and You, because Tangled is
Very
such a big,
much so, yeah.
big part of that show. And I know, the whole lantern scene they do here in Florida is very impressive.
Well, you'll see a lantern scene here as well, and you can see how it works because things can wrap around the castle turrets. It lends itself to that, but even so, it's after this scene starts to about this now, it kind of just slows down. The show slows down, and even though it's good to have dips and troughs in the show,
Right.
this show perhaps this section is too long. People were starting to get a bit bored, maybe wondering what's next, instead of enjoying this section of the show.
So this is the equivalent of the ball in Illuminations slowly moving out to
Yeah.
the middle of the
And
lake.
people are like, is it almost over?
Sort of
Are
like
they
a drum
putting
solo.
more
People run
fireworks?
off to the bathroom.
Yeah,
you know.
sadly, yeah, because it is a good section.
Oh,
but
there we go. There's the
your lanterns.
lanterns.
And it has some nice effects, it has some nice projections, has great music, but it's just
Slows the pace down
it's just
a little.
different to the rest of the show. It just stick out as being different from the rest of the show. But who knows, maybe it's needed, to give people a breath.
I mean, it's still impressive to me to see. I like Tangled. It's one of my favorite movies.
The
I love the
pyrotechnics as
music.
well in this section are very nice. The fan-shaped pyro that they shoot off the rooftops look really nice. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a great section. Maybe I'm just thinking.
I
should
think
be a bit
it's just
quicker.
you.
Okay, it's just me. They're not going to remove it from me then.
I'm just kidding.
No.
So now we're finishing up with Tangled, and what do we have coming up? Oh, Princesses then.
No, I think that's the end of Tangled, where they're using the breezeway screen. You can see the arch shape of the actual entrance to the castle.
I see.
That's become a whole screen.
That's the cover.
The second star comes back just to remind us that it's still there. And now, if I recall, we now go into the villain section, which has some very, very clever visual
And this
effects.
is a very long show compared to.
Yeah,
It's
I
an
mean we're
amazingly
already
long
at
show.
about 17 minutes.
The show compares to Phantasmic in length.
Wow. I mean, the show in California, World of Color,
That's pretty
is a
long.
very long show. I think it's a half-an-hour show.
Yeah.
So this seems to be. It's not all pyrotechnic, so you can run it fairly inexpensively. I would think.
Indeed, the show has been designed, I believe, to run without pyro. The show can run using projections, searchlights, fountains, and lasers, I've been told. So it doesn't need to have pyro or flame jets. One night, I believe, it did run without pyro this summer due to high winds, and it did look like a totally different show, but still a very good show. So
That's nice that they can do it either way.
Is that Dr. Facilier?
it certainly is.
Look at
it
that.
certainly is. And this has got to be one of my all-time favourite sections of the show, coming up around about now.
Well, it's Halloween time
It
as
is.
we
That's
record this.
what he said
so
was his favorite.
that is very cool.
The eyes are
Look at that.
floating in front of the castle in the air. Yeah, the blinking eyes are just mist screens.
So it's almost a 3D effect when
Yes.
you're there.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
awesome. There's laser on the castle there as well. And, the
And
castle
Martin
has
is pointing
projections.
his fingers, by the way. All you.
Like usually I'm the one.
Denise
putting my
usually is the
hands
one
up.
using the
You
hand.
can
Oh,
see
here's
there.
fire.
And
Indiana Jones type
Yep,
fire.
we have
flames.
Indiana Jones flame effects.
Wow. Very impressive.
And now we're into the scary section. Which, again, there you go. There's our
Villains
bad guy.
mix and mingle.
This is our bad guy, Captain Hook. Of all the villains to choose,
Well, it's perfect, since it's a Peter Pan story.
yeah. Captain Hook throws Shadow. And that's an interesting effect. Shadow actually is thrown off the mist screen onto the castle screen. So
And it looked like water,
he gets
actual
thrown
water
off,
came.
Yeah, water came, but he gets thrown off one projected screen onto another, and you don't notice apart from the fact it looks like it gets thrown into the distance when he lands on the castle. And now all the villains are coming like
Well,
pretty
of
much
course,
like
Ursula, who
Phantasmic.
lives in the water,
Indeed.
jumped right on to this action.
Wasn't that TikTok Croc? I'm used to him being
Yeah,
like
TikTok also.
I'm used to him being like 8 feet tall, so I'm not used to him
Check
being
out the
little.
dragon. Here's Phantasmic Dragon, if you like, projected instead of having it there.
Oh, wow.
But the whole hillside
Look
explodes.
at that. Oh, gosh. Wow.
And just as Shadow's about to get it, Peter Pan appears, saves the day, and this is really now where the big finale begins. But believe it or not, this whole amazing villains section runs into the finale, So you've got probably a good 5 or 6 minutes of just wow factor, as I'd call it.
And you'll have to let us know when you had that dropping moment. So
Yeah, well, you'll see it, and I'll just tell you when it happened, and I think you'll understand why. Especially, as always, the show is a lot better if you're actually there than watching just a video. Of
course.
I hope this does give you some idea of the scale of this show, because
well, I think we'll be booking our trip to Paris, don't you?
Yes.
it is awesome.
I've been wanting to anyway.
Yeah, but this just makes it worse. It doesn't help.
It's worth the plane ride.
Yeah. No
For those
doubt.
who can't hear the audio at the moment, everyone's happy the second star's back. Everything's back to normal, so they fly off to Neverland, and here we go.
They can hear the audio in your
Right.
There we go.
in your videos.
Yeah,
Your
indeed.
video.
Yeah, and this is the start now of the grand finale, which just keeps getting better and better. Just when you think the finale's finished, they throw something else in. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and keeps building, as you'll see. It's just hard to describe just everything now, that the whole hub from side to side.
And of course,
is
we're all just
exploding.
staring at the
Right.
screen now. Like, I know we're supposed to be talking about it, but
There we go. This is my jaw-dropping moment. Round about now.
oh wow.
Nobody's saying it. We're all
Exactly,
just
Because
yeah.
our jaws just all dropped.
I mean,
Look
Look
at
at
that.
that. That is a big wow, I'll tell you that. Look
And
at
it
that.
looks almost like a photograph that's come to life. It's that good, and it does honestly look like that.
amazing.
Yeah.
That is
There you go.
incredible.
And this is sort of the world of color plus. I mean, you throw everything in the pot.
Everything
you know,
is in here. Everything is here.
Illuminations.
It took
Yeah.
them 20 years to
Phantasmic.
get a good show in, and I mean they.
It deserves it. Yeah, Paris has been done proud. Really has. And then, peekaboo,
Oh.
bye bye, boom. And
Da-da-da-da.
then, here we go. The big finale.
Look at that. Crazy.
Wow. I mean, Disneyland Paris is such a great park,
Yeah,
so it's nice
gorgeous
to actually
park.
see them.
It's finally got the show to do the park justice. It really has. And that was Disney Dreams in Disneyland Paris for the 20th anniversary.
And I hope
And does
they
the
have it for
park
many years.
does the park across the street have an equally good
No,
show?
I don't think so.
The park across the street was open late enough to have a show. But interestingly, though, we'll see what happens in the future. But they can't have Phantasmic if this show's running now, because it's very much like Phantasmic. But hey, Disneyland Paris has got a great show now.
Well, thanks so much to Martin Smith
Thank
for
you very much.
My pleasure.
doing such a
And
fantastic
especially
job
it's
as
almost
always.
11 p.m. He was out all day, so.
For 2.5 weeks, he's been out all day. Thanks to our sponsor, Theme Park Connection in Winter Garden, Florida, and to Maple Leaf Tickets, our official ticket agency.
And again to Martin. Who
And to
will
Martin.
Not be sitting in again because he's going to be.
Unless we can
in
figure out that
England.
Skype thing someday.
We'll do our best. Thank you for having me.